Okay guys, so we're back from our first initial ride on this thing, and I'm going to walk you through some of the settings changes that I made out there on the trail that ultimately is going to give you a better ride experience. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is this, right? I'm going to go ahead and key this bike on, and of course it's going to fire right up and go through its cool little on-screen display there. You may notice up here at the top, that is neutral. Well, why, of course, would I want that anytime I turn the bike on? Well, if I have to pull it out of, a rocky area, whatever the case may be, it's in neutral, meaning it doesn't do anything, right? That is super handy, and in fact, it is extremely easy to be able to set this up, and I'm going to try to hold the camera while I walk you guys through this. So go ahead, go into your settings, come down here into devices, go into the nuclear controller, go down here into advanced modes, and you actually don't even have to turn advanced modes on. We can talk about that here in a minute, but neutral by default, turn that on, save those settings. That way, every time you key on your bike, you're in neutral rather than, whatever mode you happen to be in. Now, why in the world did I do this? Well, the reason why I did this is because anytime I would initially turn on the bike, it would default over to power mode 1, but my power mode 1, I'll switch it over here, is actually set up so I can load this thing onto my trailer. Now in power mode 1, I've got it set as a very, very low speed. Just to kind of give you an example, that is wide open throttle, okay? That's just simply so I can walk it up on there. Well, of course, that doesn't get us going down the trail very fast, so I have to start off in neutral. It's always in neutral. When I'm ready to go, I push and hold and get this guy over into power level 3. Power level 3 I set up on here. This is crazy. This boost mode that it has built in is absolutely fantastic, and it gives you just an absolutely amazing throttle response. And I'll give you guys kind of an example here. I'm blown away by it. We'll go through some of the settings here in a minute, but we wanted to start it off with how to start off in neutral so that you don't accidentally whiskey throttle your bike trying to pull it off the trailer or whatever the case may be. All right, so here's another good one too, and I actually discovered this yesterday out on the trail. I kind of confused myself, and I wanted to make a point of letting you guys know about this. So up here, 55%, that's how much of my watt hours I have left, or battery that I have left. And you can see that's clearly noted here, 1062 watt hours. My stats are set up for from charge, so I can even come in here and look at it and say, hey, how much have I actually used? All of that stuff. Of course, you could do the math on that and figure out that that's exactly right. But I kept looking at this fuel gauge thinking, well, why does it still show full? It doesn't. These actually go down and across both sides, as well as the top ones go up and over. They originate from the center position. So if you look, it's actually sitting at 55%. But I kept thinking that yesterday on the trail, wanted to make a point to talk about that in this video. Okay, some really neat information, and if you remember from the setup video where I showed you how to set up the various lines in here, that's actually what these top two here are at the top, and you can actually access these by scrolling through with these buttons here. Now, I've got mine set up to where over here off to the left, 55%, that is my unused battery. That's how much battery juice I got left, right? Off to the right is actually motor RPM, so I'm using it kind of like a tachometer, so that's pretty cool. If I kick this guy over to the next one, you're going to see my trip meter from charge, meaning how far have I gone since the last time I've charged it, the right side being the total odometer for the entire bike, all the way back historically, so that's kind of cool. Now, obviously, with this brand new controller, I only had about a mile or so before we went and rode those 11 miles. The next one down is going to be my battery voltage. What is it sitting at right now? I want to know what it is, as well as how many watts is the bike putting out right now. So that's kind of cool to be able to see that, and of course record this with a chest camera or even log it through the software. You can actually do some kind of neat comparisons through here as well. The next one down is going to be the battery current, what's actually coming out of the battery itself, as well as the phase current. What are we sending to the motor? So I thought that was kind of a cool little setup. The next one down is going to be my driving range total, as well as my driving range from charge, which means basically doing a calculation a lot like your car does. If you keep riding the way you have been, that type of trail, that type of throttle response, you have roughly 13 miles left before the battery is completely drained. But a lot of cool stuff inside of here, and I'll show you how to access this right now. So if you want to get into this, it's really simple to do. What you want to do is hit the button over here off to the left, go into the onboard computer, enter into that, and then go down to your main screen setup and enter into it. The very first one is going to be your information lines. Jump into it, and now you can see my left variable 1. The variable 1 is the ones that will show up on the screen anytime you first power this up. And if you remember, unused percentage of battery, motor, RPM, etc. You can scroll all the way down through these, and there's a number of them that weren't even turned on. And in fact, I turned all of mine on just to kind of set up some things in here. Or even you can have it set to cycling, where it'll just sit there and constantly roll through all of these. But just kind of give you an example as to what's inside of here. You'll notice when I go in and actually launch into that area, it'll start scrolling across. So driving range from charge, and it'll show you exactly what this is. And there's a ton of these in here. Go through here and set this thing up exactly the way you want it. That way you have instant access to this information anytime you want it while you're out on the trail, but definitely a cool feature.